The leaves are already falling off the trees, and winter's just around the corner. But that's no reason to stay indoors. Science Friday is taking you on a field trip. We're headed to the Tannersville Cranberry Bog in Tannersville, Pennsylvania, to learn all about lichens. Our tour guide today is James Lendemer. He's a lichenologist at the New York Botanical Garden.
Should have brought my hand lens.
He comes to the bog to collect his specimens.
It's sort of like a puzzle, finding them everywhere you go and learning what they look like. I think of myself as a bounty hunter.
If you'd like to hunt for this bounty yourself, you probably don't have too far to look.
Lichens can be found in every terrestrial habitat on virtually every substrate that's available. They can grow on trees, they can grow on moss, they can grow on soil, they can grow on rocks, and new substrates that are introduced, like human-made substrates like plastic or cars or glass. If they sit still long enough and they're in the right conditions, lichens will grow on them too. I described a new species, Gylidiopsis moodii, from a tire rut in southern New Jersey.
So the biggest problem with looking for lichens isn't finding them. It's knowing what's a lichen and what isn't. Lichens fall into 3 distinct groups. There are the foliose lichens.
They look like a leaf.
The fruticose lichens.
It looks like a little bush.
And the crustose lichens.
Those are the ones that pretty much look like a crust on a tree or a branch or a rock.
And they come in lots of colors.
Ooh. Ah.
But beware of false alarms.
Here's an example of a species that's not a lichen, but is treated with lichens because it belongs to a group that contains lichens. And that's Phaeocalicium polyporeum. Did you look at that katydid? Isn't that pretty? Beautiful.
So what exactly is a lichen? It turns out that lichens aren't just one thing. They're actually groups of 3 different organisms: fungi, algae, and bacteria.
Basically, these 3 components get together and form a constituent organism that doesn't look anything like any one of the individual parts. The sort of master of the whole thing is the fungus. The fungus is really the farmer in the lichen.
The algae are essentially the crop that's being harvested. The fungus eats the algae, which produces energy from sunlight. In return, it provides it a home, protecting it from excess UV radiation. While scientists aren't certain exactly what the bacteria do, it's known that all these organisms work together.
What lichens really are sort of a term for a lifestyle.
And many species have adopted that lifestyle.
In any given one place, you can have maybe 50, 60, 100 species.
But despite the fact that they come in so many varieties and are found practically everywhere, scientists are only just beginning to understand them.
Lichens represent something that you can see in your backyard that are very poorly known.
Take this common yellow lichen, called moonglow. It's found throughout eastern North America, but it was only described by scientists last year.
Someone probably would have collected this, but it's just a thin film, and most lichenologists might have thought it was an alga, might have ignored it because they thought it was an alga, and most people that work on algae would probably have ignored it because they said, well, it's probably a lichen.
Which means that if you want to become a lichen hunter, there's a whole world out there for you to discover. For Science Friday, I'm Anna Rothschild, and I'm liking it.